All right, today guys, we are driving a 2000 Mazda Miata. This is a clean example of what a sports car should be. Everything is really simple. This generation has automatic windows and automatic locks. But this is a manual transmission, 140 horsepower car in a vehicle that weighs about 2,300 pounds. That is light, that is fun, and that's what makes the Miata such a cult classic. This car has a cult following, tons of racing that, different groups that do autocross. This car is one of the most enjoyable cars to drive, and you can find tons of people that say the same exact thing online. Let's go ahead and start this thing up and go take it for a drive. One of the best things about Miatas is their foot pedal placement in terms of just the driving experience overall. There's tons of feel through the steering wheel. Your gas, brake, and clutch pedal are perfectly spaced, so that way when you drive, you can easily heel and toe. You can, left foot brake. The options are unlimited. This is one of the best driving experience cars that you'll ever find. Now, as a car enthusiast, and a lot of you that watch this, I'm sure you can agree, one of the most depressing parts about today's era of vehicles coming out is the manual transmission is dying. And it's one of the saddest things, because unless you've driven a manual transmission, you don't know the joy that's involved. It's so much more engaging, so much more fun, and then just the control of being able to row it through the gears, it keeps you engaged and more focused on what the task is. You don't have an opportunity to look at your phone as much. You're more entailed to downshift and accelerate and just enjoy what a car is built to do. In my opinion, cars are built to be fun. They're both meant to be entertaining and have some sort of character to them. Whether you're driving a 140 horsepower Miata, low 100 horsepower Honda Civic from the 80s and 90s and 2000s. But when you start getting into newer cars, sometimes it's so digital and hands-off, and they take care of themselves, which is great from an evolution safety standpoint, but from the enthusiast side, it doesn't fit. Just something fun about it. And I'm only going 60, but you feel like you're going that much faster. Now, back in the day, I used to race cars, and when you race vehicles, one of the most fun things to do is learn how to heel and toe. And heel and toe is essentially using your right foot, you're using the toes to depress the brake, and then you're rolling your heel to blip the throttle as you downshift. So you're doing two tasks at the same time. And by doing so, it allows you to rev match, it allows you to have a smooth transition. Gosh, that turning. It's so quick. The radius is tight. I mean, this is a small car. That's one of the best things about the Miata is it's compact, it's short, it's not a wide car, and it feels like a literal go-kart. That turn right there, just doing that quick U-turn, you can feel where the front end is, you feel how far out the front end goes over the road and the tires, and it's just a wonderful experience. All right, let's open this thing up for a second. Now, the stock Miatas, they redline at 7,100 RPMs, which is plenty of rev range to play with. The gears are nice and long. They're not overly short, so you're not having to row them quickly. And then that 140 horsepower is plenty for this light of a vehicle to have the ability to just hold a gear for an extended period of time. So right now we're in third gear at 4,000 RPMs, sitting at about 46 miles an hour, and you still have plenty of torque to move this lightweight of a vehicle. The best part is for me is that the speed limit's 50 on this road. I'm cruising at 55, but I feel like I have to check my speedo because I feel like I'm speeding exponentially. Got to take advantage of those downhills because that's where you get a little bit of extra power boost. Another thing that most people don't remember, and it's very rare nowadays because of fuel efficiency reasons and people wanting to get better fuel economy and emissions mostly, is a big driver, is to have smaller displacement, turbocharged or forced induction motors. This is a natural aspirated engine and a sports car, and that is a whole different driving feel that you would get over something that is forced induction. Forced induction is a great tool to add extra power for small displacement and meet those emission standards, but if you've never driven a natural aspirated vehicle that you have to wring out, bring the RPMs up to get that power out of it, because in the lower RPM range you don't have that turbo to give you that extra boost in power that you would get from a natural aspirated car. So natural aspirated cars usually give you that super flat torque curve and that just gradual increase in horsepower, where that turbocharged car will give you that spike in torque and power and then usually start tailoring off at the higher RPMs because the turbo can't give the same oomph that it did at the beginning. This is the second Miata I've ever driven. The first one was super fun. This is just as much fun, if not more. Should own one of these things. I truly believe that. There's something about them. What a fun car. I haven't driven the latest generation of Miata, the whole Fiat Spider and Miata, joint venture. This is an era of Miatas that will definitely be treasured, and if you can find a clean one, definitely pick one up. Which reminds me, if you can actually buy this exact car, it is for sale. I'll have that link in the description box for you guys to check out. It is for sale. Now, if you are the enthusiast, you know that the Miata is considered one of the, one of the cars that you can do a lot to, whether you just turbocharge the stock motor, which gives you a ton of power, or there's people that go crazy enough to LS swap these things, and you can do anything and everything from swaps on them. It's a front engine rear wheel drive car, which is very, very rare, and a car that's economical for that matter, and super simplistic. It's like the 240s, the Miatas, the GS300s, SC300s, the Supras, RX-7s, like that whole era of cars kept things so simple in terms of just what you can do and swapping new things, adding extra power, all that fun stuff that I think the car enthusiasts of today doesn't get to experience. Now, for all you watching this, let me know in the comments below what your opinion is of cars of this era, and if you've grown up with the 90s and 80s cars, do you prefer this older style vehicle over the newer stuff? And for me in particular, my wife asks me all the time, do you want to get a newer car, whenever cars we have currently that are always, less than 10 years old, she always asks me, why do you want that older stuff? And I think this is when I was growing up and I was in the whole, JDM scene and going to hot import nights back in the day. For me, I had this distaste, if you will, for muscle car guys or older car guys because I just never understood it. I was young and I didn't have that visibility of living and driving for over 25 years. And now when I look back at it, is those guys that grew up with those cars, they look at newer cars like the JDM cars the same way that I look at JDM cars compared to newer cars of today. It's crazy how your perception changes when you just get a little bit older and just get a better understanding of life and what you grew up with and what you enjoy. For me, I don't want to own a Tesla. I don't want to own a lot of these newer cars. I appreciate them, and there's certain ones that I probably would buy, but there's just a different level of feel and experience that you get with a car of the era that you first learned to drive on. I first got my car when I was 16. It was an Acura Integra GSR, 1994, and I bought that car in 2001. So I grew up with those older style vehicles, and there's just something about that less refinement that you get, because as a new car comes out, they get more and more and more refined and they lose less and less of the personality, in my opinion. Now, to enjoy this car properly, one of the things that you have to do is you got to experience the top down. Best part is there's no fancy electronics. That's it. That's all there is to it. I don't think the sound is too bad in terms of wind drama. I mean, I'm cruising at 45 miles an hour. There's not a lot of wind noise even for myself driving this thing. My hat's obviously not flying off, which is nice. There's not a lot of buffering, which is designed in the whole body of this car. I think one of my favorite things about this thing is the turning radius. You can just whip this thing and do a U-turn anywhere. So if you enjoyed today's video, hit that subscribe button, and as always, enjoy every mile.